Hi everyone, and welcome to episode 67 of the Talk is Cheap show. Hope you're all well, healthy and COVID-free. Thanks to everyone for tapping in. We truly appreciate your support. Now, we've got a fantastic show lined up for you today. But without any further ado, let me start by introducing my star-studded cast. First up, coming out of the red corner, representing the red half of North London, a man whose passion for the game is matched only by his knowledge of the game. The mercurial, the maverick, the magnificent, the learned, the erudite, the enlightening, the illuminating, the sometimes controversial, but always entertaining. Ladies and gentlemen, let's have a digital round of applause for Mr. Curtis Shaw of Curtis Shaw TV. What are you saying, bro?
You got me feeling like Muhammad Ali in his prime, bro, with that intro, I'm telling you. But listen, it's going to be, I'm sure it'll be war on the pitch. Yeah, but I'm sure it'll be lively at the Emirates this weekend. But nah, big up, bro. Pleasure to be here.
Also, coming out of the blue corner, representing the white and blue half of North London, a man who is utterly undaunted and unflinching in his defense of his team. He's audacious, he's fearless, he's outspoken. He boldly goes where no other Tottenham fans fear to tread. But he's not just about swag and sav. His knowledge of football is unquestioned. Ladies and gentlemen, let's have another digital round of applause for Toby in the house. What are you saying, bro?
I'm good, man. It's good to be here, man. I've been on this platform before. We've done this before. I like the cadence of these type of streams as well. So let's get into it, man.
Let's get it, man. Let's do it. But before we start, just for the people who don't know too much about you, because there will be some people watching today that maybe didn't see our previous shows and don't know how you first started supporting Tottenham, a little bit about your channel. So just enlighten the people, bro.
Yeah, man. So I've been in the football sort of YouTubing or podcasting scene for years, but I've only done it in like a bit part capacity. And I think this year is the first time, like right at the start of the year, where I decided to make my own YouTube channel. So as I was saying to Curtis before the stream started, whilst I am a Spurs fan, a fierce Spurs fan, I'm also a football fan. Like I love watching football. I'll even watch Arsenal games. Like it's that real. And I hate Arsenal. I watch Arsenal games, Chelsea games. I watched a lot. So I'm here for Spurs talk. I'm here for Arsenal talk. I'm here for Chelsea talk. I'm here for Premier League, La Liga, Bundesliga. I just love football. So if you like football and you like good opinions, then just rock with me and come follow my channel.
So how did you support? Because you live not too far from me. Yeah. Tell us how you first started supporting Tottenham. What was your first experience?
Yeah, so I started supporting Spurs around probably 6 or 7 years old because to be honest, my twin brother, I've got a twin brother, he supported Arsenal. And obviously back then Arsenal were Thierry Henry's, Bergkamp's, Vieira's, all of that lot. And for me, me and my brother were not stereotypical brothers. So if he does one thing, I'm not going to do the same thing. I want to do the opposite. You get what I'm saying? And I'm not necessarily saying that's why I supported Spurs, but I didn't want to support Arsenal. And I actually enjoyed watching Spurs from early in. It's weird. The only thing I disliked about Spurs growing up were our weird kits by Thompson. I didn't really rate those kits because they were tight and they were just crap. But I did like the team. I loved Jermaine Defoe, Robbie Keane. Absolute legends, man. Stalwarts of our team as well, and then Ledley King as well. We had some players, man. Of course, we had some dross like Casey Keller, like Rajak, etc. But we had some really good players, man. Freddie Canute, Mido, Darren Anderton as well. So there was a lot for me to like there because a lot of people ask me this question. They're like, "Oh, what made you like Spurs?" As if Spurs were this championship side. We had a lot of good players that were worth watching. So that's what endeared me to Spurs. And then since then as well, primary school, you had a nice split of Arsenal Spurs fans. I was on the Spurs end as well. And even my first game, because my parents, they weren't going to be paying 40, 50 pound a pop for me to go watch football matches. But I had a close friend of mine in latter years, year 6 or year 7. So through him, I was able to go to a couple Spurs games without even having to pay. So that was good. I vividly remember it. I think one of my first games was us beating Portsmouth. I think it was either 2-1 or 3-1. Back then days when Danny Murphy bloody hell, Danny Murphy scored. Danny Murphy as well, playing for Spurs. It was ridiculous. So, like, I've always loved the team, and I think over the years, my love for Spurs it's intensified. Secondary school, it was good. College times, fierce. University times, even fiercer. After university times, like, die hard. So, yeah.
Okay, thanks for that. Very enlightening. Right, so moving on then to the first feature of the show, which is to look back at the previous games of the two teams. So we'll start with Curtis. We were both in the Europa League, both Arsenal and Tottenham. Game last night, first leg, round 16 against Olympiacos, who put us out the tournament last year. Curtis, give us a quick summarization of what you felt of the game.
I mean, look, it's cup football, innit? The main thing is to get a result. I think to go away from home and win 3-1 is a good result. I felt we could have put the game to bed in the first half, to be honest. We had 3 or 4 good chances to score. I felt Olympiacos were poor. I expected a lot more from them, considering what I saw of them last year. And they were saying they are better this year than they were last year. They've only lost 1 game in the Greek league. I thought they were poor, and I think 3-1, I think we were deserving of that. I think we could have even scored 4 or 5, if I'm honest.
Right.
As usual, we made the game more difficult than it had to be. We're kind of our own worst enemies, Arsenal. But I'm confident, without being arrogant, that we'll get through. I can't see them turning over a 3-1 result. Although if anyone can, it's Arsenal who could throw it away. You know what I mean? But no, I think we're all right. I think we'll get through. I think we'll beat them in the home leg.
Yeah. Okay. Same question to you. Different team, of course. Toby, you also featured in the Europa League last night. Your thoughts on your game, which is against Dynamo Zagreb? Sounds like it wasn't too challenging, but hey, you're the expert on Tottenham. Tell us how you thought of your game.
I think it was a bit more challenging than we, or certainly I, expected. Dynamo were quite spirited, almost too spirited, to the point where they were literally just kicking lumps out of our players. Like they're a very hard-working team. They did their best to try and limit our attacking qualities that game as well. And like I said, just kicking lumps out of our players. I think that was their main tactic. Just boot these players when you can and leave something on them. But I felt in the end, the quality like showed. And of course, Harry Kane, we'll talk about him on the stream, but whenever us go low, he goes high. Like we've seen it for like 6-7 years now. Gets the brace, passing around the pitch, defending his own box as well. Like I just felt like he embodied what we were looking for that game, which was a professional performance. And it finished 2-0, but really and truly, we had enough chances to make it 3-0 or 4-0. But as long as we got a clean sheet and a reasonably comfortable lead heading into Zagreb, we'll take that. We'll be happy with that. And I think, touch wood, we should be able to get into the next stage of the competition.
Okay, thanks, guys. That's good summations from both guys there. So now we're moving on to the main thrust of the show. And there could be more action off the pitch than there will be on it come Sunday. So I'm looking forward to this part. But yeah, so this weekend then, 2 Titans clash. Big North London derby. Arsenal against Tottenham. Arsenal at home. It's a must-win game for both teams because as well as the Europa League, we're also going for various European places in the league. I think that's fair to say. So as things stand, looking at the game, we'll start with Arsenal because we're at home and this is an Arsenal channel. Forgive me, Toby. So right, so what? Arsenal 10th in the table, 38 points, played 27 games, won 11, lost 11, drawn 5. Arsenal currently 12 points, I believe, off the top 4 places and currently 7 points behind Tottenham. For Tottenham, they've played 27 games, 45 points, won 13, lost 6, drawn 5. Let's start with Toby. What do you think of Tottenham's season so far? Keep it kind of brief because obviously we've got a lot of things to discuss. But so far, up to this point, what's your thoughts on Tottenham so far this season in the league?
Up and down. We showed a lot of consistency at the start of the season with issues, and then we completely fell off a cliff. Like 5 losses in 6 for a side that are trying to get into the top four, unacceptable. And now all of a sudden we've sort of rejuvenated ourselves and a couple of players are coming into form and all of a sudden we're back in the conversation for top four. So yeah, up and down, not a consistent side, but a side that are dangerous on their day and a side that are equally capable of floundering on their day as well.
Okay. Curtis, same question to you, my friend. Arsenal so far, I mean, I think I know what you're going to say, but for the benefit of those watching, give us a quick summarization of Arsenal so far in the league anyway.
I think in the league, it's been a horror season, to be honest. No, listen, we got to be real, man. Last year, we finished 8th, and that was unacceptable for Arsenal. You know, we've had all this hype around the manager. We brought in a few decent players in the summer, although I think we should have bought more. To be 10th in the league in March with 11 defeats, it's not good enough. You know, we've improved since Christmas, but we're kind of that team at the moment that when there is not much pressure, we start to go on a little run. But when the pressure's really on, we haven't coped with it. So, yeah, in terms of the league, it's been unacceptable, really, for Arsenal. We need to do a lot better.
Okay. And staying with you, Curtis. So I think we all acknowledge that this is a massive game this weekend. And yes, we are coming off the back of a good win in the Europa League, although the performance wasn't great in my view. But, you know, they did a professional job. They got the job done. So this game, like we said, is a very important game. What kind of team would you like to see the manager put out?
I just think...
What team would you put out?
I think we've got to try and win the game. We can't look. We're going to have to rotate maybe one or two if there's tired legs. I mean, I think we've got an issue with Thomas Partey in that midfield. He was substituted after 55 minutes. Didn't look fit. Looked like he's heavy-legged at the moment. He may not even start him against Tottenham, in my opinion, because you know if he's having problems with fitness, he may think I need to save him for that Europa League game. I mean, with him not in our midfield. You know, I call our midfield the Chuckle Brothers when Thomas Partey's not in there. So that could be a problem. Listen, I would like to see maybe freshen up in a few areas. I think you could bring Willian out the team and maybe bring one of the other wingers in, Pepe or Martinelli. But I wouldn't change too much, to be honest. I think it's Tottenham. It's the North London derby. It isn't going to do Mikel Arteta any good if he loses this game. You know, we've lost twice to Mourinho since Arteta's been the manager. For me, he's got to try and win the game. I don't even think about Thursday at the moment. So I would go pretty much full strength.
So just give us a quick run through of your full strength side, just for the benefit of you.
Obviously, Leno in goal. I'd probably go Cedric at right back, despite, you know, I thought Bellerin played well in the Europa League, but I'd bring Cedric in. I'd play Tierney, Gabriel. I'd probably I'd be tempted to start Pablo Mari, because I just think we haven't seen that partnership yet, Pablo Mari and Gabriel. And I think, look, David Luiz, he made a little mistake the other day. He's 33. Maybe I'll go Pablo Mari and Gabriel.
Interesting.
I'll go Thomas Partey if he's fit. Next to him, I mean, it's a tough one because Ceballos just keeps making mistakes. And Xhaka made a mistake. That's what I'm saying. It's the Chuckle Brothers, man. To me, to you, I don't know which one I'd even pick. I'll probably go Xhaka then, just for the physical presence. Then I'll probably go Odegaard, Saka, Pepe, Aubameyang. I'd go with that.
Okay, fair enough. And what formation would you use?
Just stick with. He's been playing this 4-2-3-1, and he like 2 holding midfielders, a number 10. 2 wingers, 1 striker. Just stick with that.
Okay, interesting. Toby, my man, Tottenham perspective. You're the manager for Sunday's game. What team you're going to pick and what formation you're going to use?
Formation, I'm going to use a 4-2-3-1 as well, because it seems that is Jose Mourinho's most optimal formation. He's pretty religious in that view. For the back line, for the goalkeeper, obvious Laurie starts, and then the back line, the best left back in North London starts in Sergio Reguilon. Alderweireld then starts as the right-sided centre back, I don't want to see any of Eric Dyer in this game. I would start Davinson Sanchez. He's not been good this season at all. He's been he's been awful. But in recent weeks, he's playing much better than he was playing a couple of weeks ago when he got spun by Gundogan in Man City. So I would pick him just for continuity, because I feel like we need some continuity in the defense now, and that's on paper that's our best centre back pairing. And then right back, I would go with Serge Aurier. I think he's been not only our best right back this season, but I think he's been one of the best right backs in the league this season, which is really, really surprising to say. Midfield, the midfield three is a difficult one because Lucas Moura has been doing a good job for us, or in fact, a reasonably good job for us in the number 10 position in recent weeks. But I just don't trust his decision-making on the ball, and I don't trust his ability to keep the ball in a game like this where it will be a fight for possession, because both sides, I don't really think there's one side that excels against the other when it comes to keeping the ball. And I think keeping the ball will be key in this game. But I would go with Højbjerg, Sissoko as a double pivot and play Ndombele in the 10. But I won't be surprised if we see Lucas Moura play in the 10 and Ndombele and Højbjerg play in the midfield. But I would go with Sissoko, Højbjerg, Ndombele, and then the front three picks itself. I don't really need to labor on it. Son left wing, the best striker in the Premier League up top, and on form, arguably top 5 right backs in the league on form at his best. I mean, top 5 right wingers, sorry, not right backs. Yeah.
Well, my next question, I think you may have preempted that somewhat, and I expected to say much of what you said because I speak to you on a regular basis and you're not shy in coming forward. But you both announced what you consider to be your first 11s for the game on Sunday. I'm going to ask you very quickly. I'm going to start with Curtis. In terms of who's got the best team stroke squad, give me your honest appraisal. What do you think?
No, I'll be honest. I think they've probably got a better team than us on paper.
First 11 or?
I would say maybe we've got. I mean, it's different. I'm thinking throughout the team, like, yeah, they've got their midfield stronger, their defense arguably. Yeah, they've got a better team than us. You got to keep it 100, man. I'm not going to start just saying because it's Arsenal we're better, man. I'm thinking about their team: Ndombele, Kane, Son. There's a lot of players.
Real one. That's why I respect Curtis. Real one.
You got to be honest, though, man. I'm not going to be delusional and say we've got a better team on paper. I think they've got a better team than us on paper. I'm thinking about the backup in terms of the squad, I suppose. I mean, our bench is okay and theirs is okay. You've got a few good positions. We've got a few. We both could probably do with strengthening the squad a little bit. But I think they've got a better team than us. Not by much, but yeah, I think you have.
But we have made a couple of interesting acquisitions recently, haven't we? I mean, like Partey, Odegaard coming to the team. Both those guys are doing well. So I think that balances up things a little bit, don't you think?
I just think the problem is, man, Thomas Partey's been injured so much. We haven't really got to see the best of him over a long period of time. And Odegaard, I mean, he only came in January. I don't think he's even played 10 games for us. He's just kind of finding his feet at the moment. So those two signings have not had, especially Partey, hasn't had the impact that we hoped for because of the injuries. So, you know, it's not much different from last season, really. Probably Gabriel has had the biggest impact out of the new signings.
I'm dreading this one. Toby, the best team stroke squad. What are you saying?
It's us. There's probably only like...
Why though?
We're just better in every department. I'm not even trying to say...
Wow. You think you got a goalkeeper? I would dispute that for a start.
Okay, you know what? The goalkeeping one is fair. But I don't think... I've maintained my argument with this. I don't think Leno is a better goalkeeper than Lloris. I can hear the argument that he is better, but me personally, I don't think he's better. I think they're on a similar level. Both are very good goalkeepers. Both have errors in them. A lot of people see Lloris make the errors at the highest level, and all of a sudden, Lloris is making these mistakes every week, even though statistically, Leno's made just as many mistakes as Lloris in the last 3 years, if not more. Look at Leno's pass to Ceballos yesterday. Yes, you can criticize Ceballos for getting caught in possession, but he's got 4 men on him. Why is Leno choosing to pass to him when he's got Gabriel, who's literally just there with no one marking him? So for me, Leno, the Leno Lloris one is debatable, but in defense, as bad as our defense, what's that?
I was going to say, what about Tierney? You don't rate him, no?
No, I think Tierney's a top left back. I think he's a very good left back. But I also think Sergio Reguilon is a very good left back as well. And if I'm picking between the two, I'm going to pick Reguilon because I think Reguilon can do pretty much everything Tierney can do, in my opinion. I think it's a tight one, though. Again, it's a very, very tight one. I'm not really offended if I hear Arsenal fans say that Tierney is better than Reguilon. But me personally, I have to go with Reguilon. I think he's quality, man. Like he's so good. He's basically a playmaker by himself, and I feel like Tierney is pretty much the same for Arsenal as well.
So what about centre backs then? I would say that our centre backs at least at the equal of yours, if not better.
No, Alderweireld is. I think Alderweireld is better than all your centre backs. Maybe Gabriel. I think he could definitely start at Spurs. But apart from Gabriel, I'm not picking any other Arsenal centre back. And I don't really rate our centre backs like that. I just mentioned how poor Davinson Sanchez has been this season, and he's meant to be our second best centre back. Eric Dyer, useless. Joe Rodon, unproven. He looks decent but unproven. Japhet Tanganga, we don't really get to see him play at centre back, even though he's got promise. So our centre back situation is not good. But then I look at yours: David Luiz, Rob Holding. Obviously, you've got rid of Socrates and Mustafi, but your Mbappe of centre backs, he's out on loan at Nice. So so your centre back situation is low key in the mud right now. So yeah. And
no,
then the midfield.
Although I would say that Gabriel and Mare are both playing well at the moment. So I would say they're at least at the equal of Davinson Sanchez, if not better. Wouldn't you say so, Curtis?
I think Gabriel is better than Sanchez right now.
Gabriel, yeah.
I think he's better than Sanchez.
If you were picking 2 out of the 2 teams, I think you'd pick Alderweireld and Gabriel in a 2, I reckon.
Yeah.
That'd be fair.
So let's get it off your chest. Come on, man. You know, I know you want to talk about it, Toby.
Yeah.
Harry Kane versus Aubameyang.
Yeah. Ask me, innit? Ask me, because for as long as I've known you, Laurie, I've been telling you for years. If you want to talk goal scoring, okay, yeah, Aubameyang scored more goals than Harry Kane, but there's caveats to that. And you didn't want to listen to the caveats. I said, this guy has had injuries that have prevented him from outscoring Oba. I remember that season, the season we got to the Champions League final, I remember it. At the time in which Harry Kane picked up his injury in like February or something, or January, whenever it was, he was on more league goals than Aubameyang. And I think Aubameyang only finished with like 4 or 5 league goals more than Harry Kane in that entire season. And Harry Kane missed pretty much 80% of the second half of the season. So you just have to think, if he was fit, he's outscoring Aubameyang. And it was the same conversation the season after that, last season, when he literally he missed the entire second half of the campaign. If not for COVID, he's not playing because the season would have been done and he don't come back until about June time. So I've always maintained that, as even though I think Aubameyang's a world-class striker, and I've even argued with some of my Spurs mates on this, that whether he's a world-class striker or not, even though I think he's a world-class striker, Harry Kane is on a different level to this guy. Yeah, because Harry Kane can score the number of goals that this guy can score and more. And Harry Kane is a completely different player outside the box. Harry Kane can do things Aubameyang wishes he could do. And that's the difference. It really is that simple. You would, if I gave you the option of Harry Kane or Aubameyang, there's no way on earth you are picking Aubameyang. Impossible. Absolutely impossible. Because Harry Kane is a better footballer in every single aspect, apart from maybe movement in the box. And even then, Harry Kane still scores as much as him, if not more. So I just
he hasn't in the last couple of seasons, has he?
Yeah, because of injury. And this is what I'm saying, because of injury, because he's fit now. He's fit this season, and he scored almost double the goals that both your first team strikers have scored combined in the league. Harry Kane's got 16 league goals. Your Aubameyang and Lacazette have combined for what, like 9 or 10 league goals in the league this season? Harry Kane's got 13 assists. How many assists have these got? Harry Kane has got 26 goals in all competitions this year. 26 goals in 37 appearances and 16 assists. That's 42 goal contributions. You just have to look at his goal scoring record, the way he plays, his assists. He is a completely different player to Aubameyang. He is. It's that simple.
How many golden boots has he won recently?
Because he's been injured, bro. He's been injured. This is what I've said. He's been injured, and that's why. That's when that's the only way this conversation is interesting. When Harry Kane,
I just want to say something there on the injuries front, and this is something that me and you have gone back and forth on a lot. And then I'm going to hand over the place to your evenings. But when you're talking about injury, surely the fact that you have a player like Aubameyang that doesn't get injured, that is an attribute that he has over Harry Kane. The fact that he would appear to be physically more robust, even though he may not look so. The fact that he gets less injuries is surely a plus point for Aubameyang. And it should be something that you say, well, he's only got more goals because he's been injured less, or he doesn't get injured. That's actually a great attribute for a striker to have, that he doesn't get injured. So that's where I disagree with you on that. You can't say, well, Harry Kane would have scored more had he have played more games. The fact is he didn't. You know what I mean?
But I can say that because you can look at it historically. When Harry Kane's been fit, or when he's not been as injured to the extent that he has been the last 2 years, he scored more than Aubameyang. I can say that.
No, but my point is the fact that he's getting injured is something, even though it's unfortunate, it's something that he has that Aubameyang doesn't have, and which makes Aubameyang a better player, if you ask me, because he doesn't get injured as much.
Okay,
now,
go on.
Curtis at this point.
All right, cool.
Curtis to defend the honour of our main striker, our main man, Aubameyang.
Look, I'll put it like this, and you know me, I keep it 100, right? Kane, as much as it pains me, right? Kane's the best striker in the Premier League. He is. It was Aguero, in my opinion, but then Aguero obviously has took a dip now. And I think Kane has taken over the ranks. Where I will back up Aubameyang, number one, the injury thing is an attribute that you can give to Aubameyang, because a lot of Man City fans used to say that with Aguero. You know, he would win the Golden Boot, but then he used to pull his hamstring about January time every year. And then Kane or Vardy or someone would go and win the Golden Boot. So the availability is important. The other thing that I can give Aubameyang, his goals since he's been at the club have led to us winning a trophy. You know, although it is the FA Cup, some would say it's not one of the major trophies. You know, he's turned up in the biggest game. He scored 2 in the semi-final. He scored in the final. He's led us to a trophy where Kane, obviously, I think you've been in FA Cup semi-finals and Champions League final and that. He hasn't really performed in the biggest of games for Tottenham where the trophies have kind of been on the line. Is that fair, would you say? Champions League finally got wrapped up. He wasn't fully fit. FA Cup semi-final, I think, against Man United, was it? He got pocketed as well in that game. I'm sure he didn't score as well.
Yeah, I think it's unfair because I think the reason why I think it's unfair is both those 2 instances you've mentioned are when he was rushed back from injury. That FA Cup game was his first game back from injury. He got injured against Bournemouth. Didn't play for like 2-3 weeks. An injury that was meant to rule him out for probably 5-6 weeks. We rush him back and he's playing in 3 weeks' time in the FA Cup semi-final. And it showed. And for me, that's what happens. Whenever we rush this guy back from injury, he doesn't knock the same. So you compare that to his performance in the previous year when we made the FA Cup semi-final against Chelsea. He was good. He even scored in that game as well. He scored a diving header in that game to equalize for us. Harry Kane, for me, if he's fit and available, yeah, he's doing everything he can to win us that game. If he doesn't win us that game, it's either one, he's been uncharacteristically poor because it's uncharacteristic for Harry Kane to play so poorly, or 2, he's just rushed back from injury. That's the way I see it, to be honest.
It's fair enough. To be honest, with Kane this year, I think he's added or he's shown parts to his game that I didn't even know he had really, you know, dropping into that deeper role and the way he's linked play. He's got a lot to his game. I have to admit, he's got a lot. But the injury thing, he needs to be careful that doesn't keep reoccurring, because it does hold players back sometimes when they become injury prone.
But listen, I would just like to close on this particular aspect by saying, listen, if you're signing a striker, any manager that's doing his due diligence, that is going to be one of the first things you look at. You'll be looking at his goal scoring record, obviously, and what he can do for the team. But you'll also assess his injury record. And what I'm saying to you, the fact that Aubameyang has a much better history with that regard than Kane does is not something to be sniffed at. It's actually something that you would say is an attribute that he has over Harry Kane. He's physically more robust and less prone to injury. So
I don't know about physically more robust.
Well, he would appear to be. I mean, sometimes you can't measure strength just by looking at someone's size. But he's playing the same amount of games. Harry Kane. He's playing against the same opposition on the same pitches, and he's not picking up those injuries. That to me that his bone structure is more robust than that.
So we're now judging players' qualities because they get injured less. So
I'm saying that is an important aspect of judging a player.
Availability.
If they're getting injured half the season, you can't use them. So
yeah, but I get that. But Harry Kane being injured for half the season is not normal. Like, he got injured for 5 months last season. That's not normal. We expect maybe in a season, maybe two minimum, 2 months maximum, maybe 3-4 months. See, last year was a freak injury. Like, he literally snapped his hamstring. Like, that's never really happened to him before. And as much as I value availability, you have to look at player quality, because you look at what he's doing, whilst being injured, and you compare it to what Aubameyang is doing whilst he's playing all the games, and there is really not much separating the two. If I ask you how many league goals Aubameyang scored last season, you would tell me 20, 23, 24, 22?
22.
That's like 3 or 4 more goals than Kane scored. And he missed like 4 or 5 months of the season. So that's where that's where quality for me trumps availability, because what this guy is doing, even when he's only playing 3 quarters compared to Aubameyang's 4 out of 4, is enough for me to suggest that he's a better player. It is. It really is.
Just say one thing, Laurie, before we wrap up. What I would say, though, for Harry Kane, right, he needs to press the red button at the end of this season. For me, it's time for Kane to get out of there. You've seen Ant and Dec, I'm a celebrity, get me out of here, right? Because if I'm Man City right now, or maybe even Man United, both teams, Aguero could be going. You put Harry Kane in that Man City team, he goes to the next level. He's winning trophies galore as well. Do you know what I mean? So I honestly think Kane, I think he's reached the end of the road at Tottenham at the end of the season. I think if he wants to go and fill up that trophy cabinet, he needs to go elsewhere, man, because that Audi Cup trophy, man, that ain't gonna fill the cabinet.
I can't. I'm not one of these Spurs fans who will say, "Oh no, I want to keep Kane forever." I do want to keep Kane forever, but I'm a realist, and I've even said it as well. Like, he doesn't deserve the dross that we put him through. A player of his quality. When we talk about Harry Kane, the only striker who is remotely comparable is Lewandowski, and even me, I've always maintained when this guy is on top form, he can score the goals Lewandowski can score. I will say it. He can score. Listen, if Harry Kane played in the Bundesliga and his only job was to score goals up top for Bayern Munich, he could do that. He could score 30, 40 goals. We've seen him do it in the toughest league in Europe. He's done it. Do you get what I'm saying? But what Harry Kane offers outside the box, Lewandowski doesn't offer. So for me, he's
better than him, man.
You can say, listen, it's an argument. It's a debate to be had. I'm not saying Kane is definitively better, but for me, I'm picking Harry Kane over Lewandowski because I think he offers me more as a footballer and will still get and he's still just as deadly in the box. So, but the point I'm making is this: the fact that Lewandowski is the only striker we can compare to Harry Kane, and Lewandowski's won a Champions League, countless Bundesliga titles, etc., etc. Meanwhile, Harry Kane has literally won nothing. It tells you all you need to know, that this guy is clearly playing way below his level. And
Well,
as Spurs fans, we need to realize that the bubble is going to burst soon. Like sooner or later, if we don't deliver the success that a player of his caliber requires, he's going to bust out. I think the only thing saving us this summer is the fact that it's still COVID.
Yeah.
But me personally, I don't think that stops the likes of Man City from coming in for him. I don't think that stops the likes of Real Madrid, if they can generate funds, from coming in for him. All of the even Man United, I don't really rate them highly, but teams that have the funds to do it, they will do it for a player like Harry Kane. All he needs to do is just say he wants out. If he says he wants out,
he's going
to have offers.
Yeah.
Well, I would just like to say, in closing this particular segment of the show, is that at the end of the day, for all the gifts that Harry Kane has got, and there's no doubt he's a very talented footballer, one of the best strikers in the league. You could make a case for him being so. However, the stats say that over the last 3 seasons, not this season, that Aubameyang has outscored him every season. And at the end of the day, Toby, you could talk about injuries all you want. When you look at those stats, right, it doesn't come with an asterisk and say, well, actually, Aubameyang scored more on this season, but Harry Kane would play fewer games. Stats are stats. You know what I mean? The goals are goals, and that's it.
All right, so
I mean,
no. All I'm saying is Aubameyang's also I'm pretty sure he's also outscored Aguero in the last two.
No, but we're not talking about Aguero. We're talking about
but we're talking about a striker who Curtis has said is now better than Aguero, but Aubameyang's outscored Aguero in the last season as well. Was Aubameyang better? Was Aubameyang better than Aguero? No, he's not. Maybe now, because Aguero's injuries have completely set in, but a functional Aguero compared to Aubameyang, no chance. So view it the way you view Harry Kane and Aubameyang.
What I was also trying to say as well is that what Aguero and Aubameyang have in common that Kane doesn't is that with those two guys, their goals have led to trophies. You can't say that about Harry Kane. But moving on, because I don't want to go full. You know what I mean? Right. Moving on to the main thrust of the show, and I'm going to put this question to Toby because he seems very confident. You obviously think Spurs are going to win on Sunday. So tell me why.
I actually don't think we're going to win. I don't think we're going to win. I think it's going to end a draw, man. I think it's going to end a draw. I'll happily sit on the fence on this one because, as I said before we started, the worst thing we can do as Spurs fans and as a team is go into this game thinking, oh yeah, it's not going to be as tough, or they're bad, so they'll just roll over and we'll win it comfy. If we're playing at home, it's a different question altogether, because I feel like when we played you lot at home this season, you lot were in complete disarray. We didn't have to play at our best. We knew that we could put in a 6 out of 10 performance and beat you, and that's what we did. That wasn't an outstanding game for us. We didn't even play well. We just scored 2 goals and did enough to win, and literally sat back and let you lot do everything you want, spam as many million crosses into the box as you wanted, but you were never going to beat any of our defenders in the air with those tactics. So I felt like that game was completely different to this game. This game now, some of your players are picking up form. You've added in, obviously, Odegaard in January. You've added a bit more creativity into your team, which was lacking when we played you last time round as well. And even though your form in the league has been higgy-hagger, yeah, this is a game generally that no matter what circumstance Arsenal are in, you always find a way to turn up in. Even last season, we dominated the first half, and second half, you slapped it all over us, and the game ended 2-2. We were 2-0 up, the game ends 2-2. So this is a game where I like to be apprehensive, and I have good reason to be apprehensive. So as much as we can go there and win, like, I wouldn't be shocked if we won, but same way I wouldn't be shocked if we don't win. And God forbid, I'm gonna touch wood saying this, I also wouldn't be shocked if we went there and lost, because we've lost to team. No, big man team. We've lost to teams worse than Arsenal. We've lost to teams worse than Arsenal in the league this season away from home. But my only saving grace for this is some of the better players that we have in our team are in good form, like Gareth Bale, like Harry Kane, Reguilon back fit, Højbjerg getting back to the levels that he was showing us for most of this season, and Ndombele doing his thing, Alderweireld now back into the fold as well. So I can confidently say that I don't think we're going to lose this game, but whether we're going to win is a different matter altogether.
Right, that's interesting. I appreciate your honesty there, bro, because I mean, a lot of people would have just come on and started capping for their team, and not showing any real way of backing that up. But you've said what you said. You've articulated your reasons why, and enough respect to you for that. Right, Curtis. Similar kind of question to you. What do you think the result will be, and why?
I mean, look, my Arsenal head is telling me, at home, we've got a good record against Tottenham at home. I believe they haven't beat us at home since 2010 in the league. I could be wrong, but I think that's the case. My worry with this game, if I'm honest, is the managers, because Jose's just got that knack of finding a way to beat Arsenal, and, he's had it for years. We went there with naive tactics earlier in the season. Like Toby's saying, I thought we had prime Duncan Ferguson up front, the way we was crossing the ball. So it's I do think we're a better team than we were earlier in the season. Back then we looked like we had no idea how to win those type of games. We have got a number 10 now in Odegaard or Smith Rowe. It's genuinely one of them games where either one of the three outcomes are possible. If Tottenham turned up and Son and Kane and Bale are at it, you could see them getting joy. You could see a draw, a tight game. If we turn up and we play well, Aubameyang and those guys are at it, we could win. So a lot of it will be down to the team selection with Arteta, because you don't know what team this guy's going to pick. Every time, an hour before kickoff, we're all on social media. You've got no idea what this guy's going to do. So I'm leaning towards a win, but it's more probably in hope than expectation. I think it's going to be a very tough game. Let's put it that way. I think probably more than likely, I would say a draw as well, if I'm being honest, a score draw.
All right. Okay. That's interesting. So we got both of you predicting draws.
Yeah.
But yeah, you know what? I'm going to stick my neck out and go for an Arsenal win there.
Of course you would. Of course you would.
I think sometimes it's good to go against the grain, but it's obviously going to be a very hard fought and well contested game. Both teams are going into the game in good form, or reasonably good form. Both had a couple of good results behind them. So it could come down to even though the home and away factor is not as much this season as in previous seasons for obvious reasons with the COVID and no fans being in this stadium. But I just think, like Curtis said, and even Toby alluded to himself, we are in a better place than we were earlier in the season. We got a better team. And I think that the lads will be motivated enough to pull a victory out of it. So I'm going 2-1.
Fair enough.
A couple of goals by guess who, Toby?
I
think he can have one, but Aubameyang will probably get 2. So I'm going for 1.
I think you should be very worried, though. I think you should be very worried that we now have an attack that doesn't just simply rely on Kane and Son. We now have someone who's actually functioning well enough to decide this game for us in Gareth Bale, which is really, really good. Because I'm not even gonna lie, I gave up. I think early February. I just gave up expecting something from this guy, and he's shown us so much in the space of 3 weeks for me to suggest that he can definitely make an impact this game. Son, he's been ticking along nicely. He's not scored recently, but he's getting assists. He's due a goal. Yeah, he's due a goal. So you got to remember that. So there's a lot of players that are coming into this game hungry and ready to relish the occasion as well. And like you mentioned, I don't really give him much credit because I didn't really want him as our manager, and I still don't. But I have to give him some credit here. Jose Mourinho, he's a better manager than Arteta. So if the game boils down to who sets up their team the best to win this match, I will back Jose Mourinho to set up his team better than I'd back Arteta to set up his team. So I think it's finally poised to be a good game, and I think it just reinforces my belief that this is without a doubt the best derby in the league, and easily for me, top 3 best fixtures in the league to watch. It's just the best, because no matter who you put out, we put out, for some reason or another, one of the two sides will always seem to get the occasion, and they channel that through their performances. So I'm expecting a good game. Hopefully you can win, but listen, I wouldn't put money on it right now. I'd be comfy with a draw, but I would love a win, of course.
Interesting. And it's also interesting the point that was made about the managers. Curtis said that he felt that the managers could be the difference in a game like this, and he felt that Mourinho's greater experience and his tactical acumen and knowledge could mean that Spurs get over the line. I just want to ask you, as a Spurs fan, big time fan, and I know when Mourinho came to the club, I remember speaking to you, and I know that you wasn't excited by it at all. Overall, what do you think of how he's done and where you're going? Are you happy with the progress he's made, or lack of or are you unhappy at the lack of progress? I mean, I know you as a Poch fan, so
I'll try and remove Poch out of it because I know I am a Poch sexual, but I'll try and remove the Pochettino aspect out of it. He's done some good things, but overall, I'm not impressed with his tenure, man. I just feel like his optimal setup for us, there's apart from Harry Kane and maybe Son, I don't think his optimal method of how to play, how to set us up is beneficial to the entire team. And what I mean by that is his best style, or his most trustworthy style of play for us, relies on the weakest part of our team. He prioritizes us being resolute defensively, soaking up pressure and hitting teams on the counter, but we don't have a defense that's good enough to soak up pressure. And I feel like a better manager, a more expressive manager, would be getting more out of our midfield and out of some of our attackers as well. But then you look at Harry Kane, the numbers he's had this season, Son's numbers he's had this season. You can give Jose Mourinho credit for maybe making some tweaks. A lot of people will give him sole credit for Harry Kane's passing and playmaking, but Spurs fans will tell you Harry Kane's been doing this for years. Pochettino tried it 2 years ago in that 4-2-3-1 diamond formation, where he played Kane deeper deliberately and had runners ahead of him because he knew of Harry Kane's quality in passing. But you have to give Jose Mourinho some credit for making it a bit more deliberate, getting him a little bit more deeper when there's opportunities to do so, and Son as the ongoing runner, because Son's numbers have improved this season, Harry Kane's numbers have improved this season, but same way I could say both of them players are exceptional players and they're just taking their game to another level. Overall, he's had some good moments, but I'm not really impressed. I don't think we've made huge progress, and I personally would still look to get a different manager to manage the club. But I also acknowledge as well that even if we get the different man, if or when we get a new manager or a different manager, I still want to see some of these players we have in our team come out of the team. Because if Mourinho goes, fair enough, I would like that, but I would also need to see some players go as well, because it's not just Mourinho. I think he's a big issue. He's a big problem, and a problem that we need to nip in the bud. But he's doing well now, so let him keep doing what he's doing.
Okay, very, very quickly then. Thanks for those comments on Mourinho, by the way. Looking at our manager, give us your honest assessment on how you think he's done. Keep it brief, because we've got Curtis to come in, and I'm going to ask him a similar question.
I think he started off well, but this season for me, he's just lost his way completely. It screams a manager who doesn't really have an idea what he's doing and not really playing to his players' strengths. Like Aubameyang's never been this striker who is so efficient outside the box, but yet you're trying to get him to hug the touchline, beat free man, put crosses into the box for Lacazette, ostracizing players, competent players in your team, but then playing awful players who consistently are a liability, like Bellerin, etc. I just don't think he's been able to manage you lot properly, like whether it's down to tactics, team selection. I just don't think he's done it well enough this season. And me personally, I don't think he's good enough to be you lot's manager right now. I really don't. I know he won the FA Cup, and I thought he had promise, but this season showed me that there's still a long way to go with him as a manager. And I don't think that you lot, with the size you lot say you have, should be wasting your time with an experimental manager right now.
I think it's fair to say you're less than impressed. Right. You've had a lot to say about the manager. So just quickly, What's your thoughts on him so far? And I would also put this question to you as well as a supplementary. Right at the start of, well, actually it was last year when we got the manager in, there was talk about what manager we wanted. And you and me, I took stick as well for saying that we would have taken Mourinho at the club. Now, given what's transpired at Tottenham so far since he took over, would you still be of that view? But give us your thoughts on Arteta first.
I mean, Arteta, you know my thoughts on Arteta. I don't hide from them. I don't think he should have got the job. I think with him, I think when you're a coach at a football club, you focus on one thing. When you're a manager, you've got to deal with everything. You've got to deal with everything that's going on. And I feel like Arteta's had too much to deal with that he wasn't built for to deal with that. You know, maybe he needed to go somewhere else and manage for a couple of years. Then he could have maybe come to Arsenal if he was at that point. But for me, this season, I think he's shown his inexperience. I think his man management has been poor. The way he handled Saliba, you know, the way that we had to release players in January, players that should have gone in the summer. You know, I look at, for example, Guendouzi and Torreira out on loan, Saliba out on loan. We've got players in our squad that are worse than those players. If you look at people like El Neni, you know, Rob Holding, people like that. I think he's had a very, very bad season. And I'll be honest with you, I think he's lucky there's no fans in the stadium, because I think if there was fans in the stadium, I'm not sure he'd be the manager now. I honestly do. Maybe given time, maybe given another transfer window. You know, he does deserve credit winning the FA Cup. Not every manager wins trophies, so he definitely deserves, you know, a pat on the back for that. But to me, when you win the FA Cup, you're supposed to build on that. You can't celebrate that 18 months later, a year later, and still be talking about it. And I don't think we have built on it. So Arteta, I'm still underwhelmed by him. If we don't win the Europa League this year, for me, it's been a shocker.
What about Mourinho then? Because like I said before, you had, and listen, I'm not capping. I was with you on it. We discussed a number of potential managers for the job. Mourinho was one, and we both said we'd take him. You have come, and myself, but more you, to be fair, have come under fire from Arsenal fans saying, "Yeah, you wanted Mourinho, you wanted Mourinho." Tell me what you think of what he's done at Tottenham, and would you still take him?
I would have taken him at the time. Obviously, I wouldn't take him now, being as he's the Tottenham manager, you know. But listen, I have to just say as well, I did name a couple of other managers. I would have taken Ancelotti and people like that as well.
We also said Brendan Rodgers, but no one ever mentioned.
No, I rate Brendan Rodgers as well. But for me, I think Jose's done all right at Tottenham. I know, look, you've gone from champagne football. That Pochettino team played great football. They were exciting. I understand that. So as fans, we want entertainment. So it's difficult to go from that to such a pragmatic manager in Mourinho. But Mourinho, to me, is just like, he does what it says on the tin. I'm going to try and win you a trophy. You know, he's not much more beyond that. And I think Tottenham just got to a point where it was like, yeah, champagne football, Pochettino, it looks great, but there's no real end product with it. You know, if you're thirsty, you don't always need a bottle of champagne. Sometimes you just need a little juice, man, just to quench your thirst. You know what I mean?
Water.
Yeah, some water, man. So I think with Jose, I look at it now. I think he made some good signings in the summer. I think Bale's starting to pay off. I think the left back was good. I think Højbjerg was a good signing as well. And I think, listen, if he can win you that Carabao Cup this year, I know it's not the big trophy, but it's a stepping stone, isn't it, in the right direction. You can't always go from nowhere to title winner. Sometimes you just got to win a trophy, go and have a good summer. Yeah, look, you spent less than Arsenal in the summer. And we know Jose's a manager that needs money. I think you need some new defenders, maybe a new goalkeeper. I think he's doing an all right job, but obviously your league position is probably lower than you expected. So, but I think sometimes Tottenham fans have to put it into perspective as well. You know, you haven't, if we're just talking straight facts, you haven't been winning trophies, although Poch was maintaining you in the top four. I think the objective has maybe changed slightly under this manager from what it was under Poch. But obviously, Toby, give me your thoughts. how you see it, because I can think
I don't think he's done all right. I think he's underperformed because he's not utilized the squad to the best of its quality. And I think that a manager like Jose Mourinho, someone who's so well renowned, we as Spurs fans have struggled to make sense of what he's trying to do on the pitch, and that is scary for me. I could understand it if it was Arteta because he's a newbie. You lot see him flounder, and whilst you lot don't like it, he's a newbie. But this is a guy who's actually won everything at the top level, playing using a variety of players. And when we're struggling to make sense of what this guy is doing on the football pitch, his decision making and his starting lineups, his substitutions, his approach to the game, his comments after the game, that's where I start to question why he's at this club. And you mentioned something about how we spent less than you, etc., etc. He knew what this job was. Yeah, and this was one of the issues that I cited to Laurie when we first spoke about this. In addition to the fact that he's clearly regressing in terms of managerial quality, his base requirement is backing. He needs funding. He's not a project manager. He's not someone who rebuilds and reshapes a team. He's someone who needs 3, 4, maybe even 5 gems, 30, 40, 50 million players slot into the team. I'll work my magic, or I used to work my magic. We're not going to offer him that. We're not going to offer him that. This is very much a make lemonade out of lemon situation. And as I've mentioned many a time, he's a manager who's made piss out of the lemons that some of the lemons we had in this team. It's the truth. It's the truth. No, it actually is the truth.
Could you not say on the flip side, right? What's the left back called who you signed again? Reguilon. Yeah, you signed him. I think he's a good player. You signed Hallberg, who was 15 million. Great signing, I think. You signed Bale on loan, who you're now starting to see him, flourish a little bit. So I'd say he's made 3 signings there without really breaking the bank that I would say have improved your team there.
Yeah, no, don't get it twisted. Don't get it twisted. The one thing I do like about having a manager of his CV and legacy at the club is it attracts other players. In the absence of Champions League football, it motivates some players to come to the club because of what he's done in the game. They have so much respect for him. And you'll probably ask me, why don't you have this respect for him as a manager? I do have that respect for him as a manager. I just don't think he's as good a manager as he used to be. And
yeah, I would agree with that.
And the thing is, it's not just Mourinho. Spurs fans will say, they'll hear this and say, oh yeah, you're just anti-Mourinho, this, that. I'm under no illusions on how degraded a couple parts of our squad are. Like, people like to put all the blame on Mourinho, and whilst I think he deserves a big part of the blame, I also realize, and it's taken me a long while to do it, but I've also realized in recent months that our squad fundamentally is not as good as we think it is. And a lot of those players in our team are just there for show. Like, they're not actually good. So it's not all down to Mourinho, but to absolve him of blame and to not think he's a problem, that's a problem for me. It's a two-pronged issue, and both situations need to be nipped in the bud. And then you can even make a case, of course, the overarching issue on the back end from Enoch, etc., on this squad in previous years and with Jose Mourinho. It's all a big issue, but for me, he is an issue. Like, he is an issue. There's no way on earth I can come here and tell you he's not an issue when he clearly is.
One thing I would say, I think next season we'll both have the same manager, and whether we agree with that or not, I don't see either club getting ripped. Mourinho's on too much money, and Arsenal, they've just threw their hat on Arteta. They won't see any other way but this guy.
Then if he's here, then win. Tell you what, win some trophies. Then get us top 4, win.
Yeah, what I was going to say is what I do think is interesting is you've got 2 fans diametrically opposed on a lot of things when it comes to Arsenal and Tottenham, but you both agree that you're not happy with your both managers, which is interesting. And you also agree that...
do you want to swap?
No, I don't. I think Arteta is Jose's baby.
Wow.
I don't want to swap.
We're coming to the end of the show, and I just wanted to ask a question briefly, very quickly. I want just a couple of sentence answer. We'll start with Toby. My question is, projecting forward then, you've said that Sunday you think will be a draw, but projecting forward to the end of the season, where do you think Spurs will finish?
we're in the race for top 4, but I feel like I've not seen enough over this whole season to confidently say we'll finish in the top 4. As it stands now, I think we'll miss out. I think we'll finish maybe 5th. I think we'll finish 5th this season.
Supplementary to that is, would you be happy with that? Or would you accept?
I wouldn't be happy with that, but I would accept that provided we win the Europa League.
So you don't want much win.
Listen, just take the Carabao Cup, man.
Listen, I'll admit the squad that we have now, man for man, I don't think it's a definitively top 4 squad. Like, I think Chelsea man for man are better, and I think Man United's squad, maybe not first 11, but their squad, their manpower better than ours as well. So I don't think this squad has a divine right to finish in the top 4, but I feel like it has enough to finish in the top 4, and it has enough to win the Europa League as well. So if we miss out on top 4 in the league, I want us to go full pelt in the Europa League, and I think that we have enough quality in our team to go far. So, but whether we will is entirely down to the manager and those players.
Okay, thanks for that, Curtis. Same question to you, my friend. Projecting forward, past Sunday's game, Arsenal, where do you think we'll finish in the league? And would you accept where you finish? Would you be happy with it? I know probably not, but would you accept it?
I mean, in the league, I mean, we're currently 10th. I think we'll finish maybe 8th. Maybe 8th, 7th, 8th, where we finished last season. And am I happy with it? No. Like, no Arsenal fan in the world can be happy with that. Like, we finished there last year. That was what, the worst Premier League finish in 26 years.
Yeah.
To invest money in the summer and the hype that's been around this manager, to then go a year later and not improve is, for me, listen, I wouldn't accept it at all. So,
what if we win the Europa League? Would you?
If we win the Europa League, I'll hold both hands up. Apologize. You've done the business if you win that. But
do you seriously think we can win the Europa League?
Yeah, we can. Whether we will is a whole different scenario, but we can. I look through that the teams that are left. There's a few good teams in there. Obviously, the 3 English teams are probably 3 of the strongest, along with maybe Ajax and Villarreal, Roma. But listen, man, if we get the look of the draw, we can win it. But we've got to cut out those mistakes. But if we can win the Europa League, it would rescue a terrible league season.
Terrible, wow.
Terrible league season.
It has been terrible. You lot are 10th.
11 defeats, brother, Arsenal. It's ridiculous.
Yeah, I must say it's difficult to sugarcoat that. But anyway, listen, guys, we're coming to the end of the show now, and I must say I've really enjoyed our discussion. Thanks for Toby for coming on. He was honest and forthright, as I knew he would be, which is one of the reasons why I was keen to get him on. And it makes for a good symbiotic mix with you and Curtis. Curtis, as usual, man, nailed everything, spoke his truth. And I think we've got a great show for the viewers to watch. So listen, man, thanks very much for both of you guys. Just briefly, and I've got to be very brief because we've hit the hour mark. Toby, tell us where we can find you on social media, bro.
Yeah, Tappin Tobes, TAPINTOBS on Twitter, on Instagram, on YouTube as well. So if you want to subscribe to my channel, go ahead and do so.
Okay. And Curtis, very quickly, you too.
Yeah, man, Curtis Shaw TV, daily uploads, watch-alongs, I'm there, man. Let's hope we get Tottenham Europa League final. That would be an epic final, wouldn't it?
Oh, man, that would be amazing. That'd be amazing. Yeah. But yeah, thanks again, guys, and thanks to everybody for watching in. We truly appreciate it, man. We really do. Keep the show interactive. Send us your comments, messages. Keep in touch. Let us know your opinions on the subjects we spoke about today. Particularly keen to hear the fans, not just on the result, but on some of the issues we spoke about. The Aubameyang versus Kane debate. That's an interesting one. The Mourinho and Arteta debate. That's an interesting one. Lots of things. Who would get in the two teams is if there was a joint squad or joint first team, who would get in what, you know what I mean, and where. So yeah, man, keep it coming, man. Keep tapping in and keep your healthy, safe, COVID-free. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you next week. Thank you very much.